You're listening to the Diagnosed podcast, where every diagnosis has a story, and every story deserves to be heard. From survivors to loved ones, we explore the journey together with your host, Albano.
If you get value out of this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Let's get on to the video. With me today, I have Vic, and Vic's story is going to be a little bit different than we typically. Our stories are typically focused around one major event or one major theme. And in Vic's case, there's several stories within the story. And we're going to dive into that. So thanks for coming on today, Vic, and sharing your stories with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We're looking forward to not just be on the show, but to actually hear other people's stories as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to give a little bit of an introduction because your situation is a little bit unique in the sense that you have a few different life-changing situations or situations that have happened in your life that have kind of led you in different directions. So I wanted to basically just say that you were born in Chile, you came to Canada, I think you went back to Chile, and your family ended up settling in Canada. And throughout all of that, we're going to be talking about kidnapping, crime, jail, and drugs.
Yep.
And then we're going to finish it off with your success after all of that and all those challenges, and what you're doing today. So tell me about, let's just start off with you being born in Chile. How old were you when your family left Chile? What were the first years of your life like in Chile?
Okay, well, it like most people say that it's hard to remember things from 3-4 years old. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, it was pretty vivid because before we actually left, there was this great earthquake. And that was kind of like the anchor of my earliest childhood memories I could remember was actually that earthquake. And after that, I remember clearly us leaving the country, like my mom preparing us to go out on a big adventure. That's what it felt like, you know. I didn't know that we weren't gonna come back. I didn't understand the political situation in Chile. It was really bad at those times, right? Like anything could happen. And plus the earthquake, it was sort of like the trigger for my parents to get out of Chile, you know. So that's kind of what led to, you know, us coming to Canada. And those are my memories
How old
of
were
Chile.
you when you first came to Canada? When your family first left Chile, how old were you?
4 years old, turning 5 when I got here.
Oh, wow. And you still remember a little bit of that from that
I
age?
remember those two things clearly as day.
The
like
earthquake
the
and
earthquake.
politics.
Yeah. Well, not the politics. I didn't know why we were leaving. I just understood that we were going on an adventure. We were leaving the country. You know what I mean? But I had no idea about the political side. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just knew that I was at a place where I was loved, you know, by my family and everything. I remember that clearly, and I remember my uncle, my grandfathers, and, you know, like just being happy and free. I honestly felt that. But the earthquake is what I remember the most. I remember the smell of the flowers.
Yeah, I find it so interesting that you phrase it, we were going on an adventure. Is that how your family kind of, is that what they said when you guys were leaving, that we're going on an adventure?
Yeah, because as a child, they thought, as parents, they thought, okay, it's better to accommodate the child so they can just come forth, right? Imagine telling a child, no, we're leaving this beautiful paradise forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of get where they're coming from, right? But at the end of the day, that was,
Yeah, how do you tell a 4 or 5 year old that you're moving to a completely new country? I mean, it's beyond
Yeah,
their comprehension at that age, right?
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of that was my that was kind of like the game that they were. I don't want to say game they were playing with me, but sort of like the fairy tale they were telling me, right? And
Right.
when we got
When you got
here,
older,
yeah,
when you got older, did you have conversations with your parents about why they were leaving Chile? So you mentioned you were too young to understand the politics of it, but it was because of
yeah,
politics. Did you
right.
guys have
Yeah,
those conversations at some point?
we did, but it wasn't because of a sort of like a routine parent to child kind of conversation. It was more like cause and effect. You know what I mean? Like I was already having trouble adapting because of the extreme exchange. You know what I mean? Imagine going from somewhere that you're loved, and then all of a sudden you're somewhere nobody likes you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of
Yeah.
my that's why my early stages of growing up in elementary was a nightmare. And it wasn't just me. There was a few of us, and we were actually put in a position where those kids like me were put it together, and that's kind of where you could say my life pivoted. You know, kind of like where the direction of life kind of felt from that, from the moment that I realized like this is my crowd, the crowd that is in constant fear and needs to find some kind of outlet. You know.
I appreciate your honesty saying that because young children, they don't really know the difference. And it
They don't.
seems at a young age that you kind of figured it out. So I'm interested to know, you guys came at around 4 or 5 years old. Your family left Chile and you settled in Canada. But you weren't in Canada for very long, were you?
No, I stayed in Canada. I mean, we tried to adapt, right? The first 5, 6 years, I think it was. Yeah, a little more than that actually. It was like the first 10 years. No less, probably like 7 years, 8 years, something like that. And I felt that my parents were like, okay, it's time that maybe we should um take take me back home. But see, again, I'm gonna say the cause and effect thing because while I was growing up, I was with a bunch of these kids that taught me how to kind of adapt to this kind of loneliness and rejectness. You know what I mean? Like people didn't really want to be around a guy who doesn't know how to speak English, and imagine them trying to teach you French, Italian, all these things, knowing I can't even learn English, but they put us in a position where we couldn't, but we couldn't. So we couldn't kind of raise with the rest of the children. I call them general population at this point, right? So they're like put us different, right? And we were put in a classroom called behavioral class, basically, and that's kind
So,
of
so
where.
let me jump in here for 1 second, Vic, because I just want to I
Hmm.
want to follow along.
Yeah,
Your so this is between the ages of 5 and 11, because you said you were here about 6 years or so.
yeah,
Is that
this
right?
happened right away, like right from grade three. From grade two, they made me repeat grade two over again. Like the school was like, yeah, there's no way this kid can go up because, for one, I was rebellious from the moment. I didn't want to be a part of any of it. And this is crazy because I'm a child. But I'm stuck here thinking like I have to secure my parents. They thought that this is how it is. Oh, Canada's the place. Take my kid, they'll handle it. Like they believed strongly that Canada was like way better than the way Chile was, because Chile was such a disaster with Pinochet and stuff that my parents actually thought that Canada cares. And but little did they know, like no matter where you are in the world, there's like there's drama,
There's
man,
challenges.
and yeah, there's challenges, especially for a child who's again felt like they've been ripped away from their whole world, right?
And you didn't,
So,
like, how long was it before you learned to speak English?
uh, I mean, started
Because you
picking up,
probably had
but
that barrier as well, right?
yeah, like the because at that point when I left Chile, like it wasn't like I was a fluent speaker, I don't think, anyways. So the adaptation from Spanish and English kind of fell both ways because I could tell you my Spanish is not perfect neither, not now, anyways. But so I kind of had to adapt to two languages at once, because I didn't really functionally finish growing in Chile. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I fell. Again, that's kind of like a diagnosis of its own. You know what I'm saying? But like for anybody out there, honestly, you have children, don't like bring them up halfway somewhere in a culture and then bring them somewhere and expect like, oh yeah, it's an upgrade. It's actually a downgrade moving somewhere because you gotta then redo that whole phase over again of trust, community, the whole works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
So
sure for some people it's more challenging than others. I mean, I think some
yeah,
people probably adapt quicker, and then some people, depending on their character or behavioral, like you said, it might hinder them.
right.
So
Yeah,
your elementary school, you were in a behavioral class, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah.
And the,
And that's where I
okay,
met my family, technically my friends that I thought were like brothers because they actually felt the same. Like my first ever acceptance to to anybody in Canada was by actually doing a bad a bad thing. Was like okay, so we got in trouble as usual, and they had us do this thing called think paper. So we had to think about, we write the paper, give it to the teacher, whatever, right? And they told us we couldn't have any chocolate milk at the cafeteria because of that, right? So a friend of mine told her, like, he was from our neighborhood, and we came from a bad neighborhood, and he's a new kid on the block. He just got kicked out of the other school. He's a new kid in the school, and he's like,
you got kicked out of an elementary school?
yeah, and he came to our school.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, it was wild, man. The 90s was wild. But anyways, the kids like, like, forget them, man. Let's just take them. And it's like, can we do that? And sure enough, we went before the class, like, because we had to go to the behavioral class. We had to do our think papers, and we had to give it to the principals or the teachers or whoever. So we went towards the cafeteria, and we jumped the door because the doors used to open two ways, the top and the bottom parts. So we jumped over, we took the cartons of milk, man, and we took them away, and dude, that was the first time I ever
so you're
felt
already
like
finding trouble.
liberated. Well, I had to
You're
adapt,
finding trouble
right?
and you're enjoying it.
Well, as a kid who's came to a country and find nothing but hate and then nothing, then the love comes from the most unexpected place, and it came from a person who just, you know, thought ahead. I didn't know any better. All I knew was like, hey, let's fucking go, man. Like,
I
like
want
it
to come
was
back to what you said about hate, but before we do that, your family ended up going back to Chile. At what age
yeah.
were you when you went back to Chile?
So like by this time that I told you about, I did the whole where I meet my friends. By this time, it's already grade 5, grade 6. By grade 7 is when shit started getting dark. You could say that's when I started, seeing the real nasty side of the neighborhood, where it wasn't just chocolate milks and stuff. It was more now like we already evolved by that time. We started breaking into the schools on weekends, right? Like it started with chocolate milks, but now it's like, okay, let's do something bigger. Let's actually break into the schools. So we used to do that on the weekends. So we started getting into, and then it became like a normal thing. When you don't get caught, it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing until one time I remember I stayed out late and I got grounded. And the friends were like, "Yo, come, let's go. It's the weekend. Let's go." It's like, I can't. I'm grounded. I can't go. And the next Monday went to the school. They called me to the office. So like, there's cops there, fucking everything. I'm like, what's going on? And they tell me, we know you were going into the schools. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah. And I was shocked, man. because I was like, I wasn't even there. How the hell does this happen? And they told me that one of my friends told them that I was there. And that was the first time I've ever felt betrayal, man. First time I've ever felt betrayal. Like that hurt me. I started crying, and my mom literally had to beg so that they wouldn't expel me. And so basically, I got into this. That wasn't the only school neither. We did plenty of different schools. I was just the only one I got caught with. But my parents thought that maybe we needed to. My parents thought maybe we needed to get this kid back home. Yeah, they say
Back to
he's going
Chile.
bad here. Yeah, so that's kind of how we got the way. That's kind of where we got the idea to going back home. Yeah,
I see. So you're still in elementary school at this point.
yeah, yeah,
You're here. Now you said, so I'm going to jump around a little bit because
yeah,
your story is it's intriguing. And again, I appreciate the full honesty here because it really sheds light on your thought process as a young boy.
yeah,
And you said you felt rejected at school and you found comfort, I think was your word, but I could be wrong. But
yeah,
you found like when you met some of these friends in a behavioral class, you felt accepted. What was
yeah.
the discomfort or disrespect? I don't remember the exact term that you used.
Well, like for me, okay. So here's a good example. When you're a kid and you're new to everything, particularly you're already new to everything in elementary school as a child, regardless of where you're from. But when you're from a new country, there's two types of learning you got to do. One is I'm not home anymore. I'm not in Kansas anymore. And number two is now I got to deal with, oh crap, now I have to deal with the public of this new country. You know what I'm saying? So my first thoughts were like everybody's an asshole. And I wouldn't give anybody a chance. The teachers used to put me in positions where I felt hated, felt the other students made you feel that way because of the teacher. So everything has a cause and effect. That's why it's like I want to give a lot of respect and my hats off to every child that was raised in the 90s because a lot of people like me came into the country and we had to deal with those things, not just the new landscape, but the social media, like the people, the kids, like it's like a big, it's a pot, it's a melting pot, you know what I'm saying? And then whatever comes out of it kind of deal. And so for me, it was like I felt the disrespect where they outcasted me. Religion is a big part. It was a Catholic school I was going to, and I was trying to look for God, because I'm here trying to find answers in every angle, man. I'm looking for answers in the people and like the place, and now, okay, let's try God, let's try God. Because it was a Catholic school, so like, okay, let's do prayers, blah, blah, ray, ray. And so we used to go to
You're doing
mass.
all of this as a young boy?
Yeah, this is what they do in elementary. And in the mass, they tell you, okay, we have to go to church. We went to church down there by Kipling and Finch. And we used to go, that used to be our church for the school. And we used to go there, and I was like, like the teacher told me, if you don't go to church, if you don't go to mass, you gotta go to hell, and you're gonna be in jail for the rest of your life. And I'm like, what kind of a God do you have? I don't believe that. No, hell no, I didn't believe in that, so I didn't go in. And you know what happened? You know what made me do? They made me like, all right, well, you're gonna go walk back to school. And they took all the kids on the bus back to school, and I had to walk myself, all by myself. You know what I mean? And that's when I was like, that's it.
You
Go
being a
ahead.
mischievous kid and coming from a foreign country, not speaking the language, and then you're expected to fit into this mold, which you obviously didn't fit in by their standards, and that kind of made you feel rejected. That's what I'm getting. And the
Yeah.
more you felt that way, the more you wanted to rebel.
Well, the fact is that they didn't like the thing that triggered me was when they said that I was gonna go to hell if I didn't do what they said. Like what kind of what kind of child would understand anything else but like this guy doesn't like me, right? You know what I mean? Like I
You're
didn't what
taking that
like
literally at that point.
yeah,
You're young.
exactly. So that's kind of where my rebellion really really grew. That's when I was like, you know what? I don't. I've been doing good by myself so far. Like in terms of me growing, I got my friends now. But at the same time, after I got ratted out by my own friends at that point, that turned me into a sort of like a secure now. Like I was very like now I was hurt, you know what I mean? I was really hurt. And that's when my mom saw that, and she's like, yeah, this kid, he's already in bad shape. He's already a troublemaker. And now he's like depressed. Let's go back home. You know what I mean? So that was
So
the whole,
there's a lot going on in your life at that point with your family between, like you
yeah,
said, the emotions, the behavioral issues, and then
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
feel accepted. So I think when all that starts accumulating, you lash out.
yeah. And that's
Most
what
kids
happened,
would, I
man.
think.
Well, that's what happened, and and honestly, if I was my mom, I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, "There's the only answer I can think about is going back home, right? Like where he was happy at that one time in his whole fucking life, right? So that was when we decided to go back home.
What age were you when your family
I was
went
12
back
years
to
old.
you were 12, so
12,
you were
12,
grade
yeah,
7 or so?
yeah. It's grade 8, give or take, 7 and 8, yeah.
Grade 7, grade 8.
Mm,
So your family decides to pick up after a few years. Um, and I'm sure their intentions were wholeheartedly to look after their boy and make sure that
yeah.
you're growing up on the right track, and this doesn't continue to escalate.
Well, the mind is so delicate, man. Like it's fragile. It's a fragile thing when you're young, and they didn't wanna. They didn't wanna, like keep injuring or like abusing this the innocence that I had. Right. Well, it's pretty much gone by the time I reached that age. Yeah. So they tried it out. So we headed back to Chile, and my mom decided to make it about like make it about like spiritual, and so we decided to stay long for a year, about I think about a year. Yeah, we stayed. And
When you went back to Chile, you were only there for a year.
yeah, we tried to, yeah, I went back for a year, but that's
Do you
when,
remember much about that year?
yeah, like I could remember like a lot of things, because again, like when it comes to traumas, man, like the memory stays there to the point where it's not just the vision. You can actually taste, you can smell everything, when you're trapped in the memory, bro. Like it's not just the memory, it's the whole, you're immersed in it, and sometimes you need to snap out of it, and you won't know. Fuck, even sometimes for me, it's been sometimes hours, the most hours that I wouldn't even know that I was stuck in a memory. I'll be sitting there just, and I would just replaying the thing. I wouldn't even notice. That's kind of like it's kind of a, like for me, I figured through like growing up, watching scary movies is how I snap out of it. So when I start feeling like the anxiety or something hitting me or depression, I would put on scary movies because I need to like shock myself out of it. Like I need something horrific or something really, really dramatic to snap me out of it. Usually that's why I used to listen to like a lot of the hardcore hip hop, like, rap music. I used to love Tupac, because he used to always speak about rising in in the shit show, right? So music was like a big key, like anchor for me to, like I used to show my emotion because I grew up so conservative in terms of like I didn't want people to know how I feel. I show weakness, crying, blah blah, ray ray. That shit's weak to me, and so I used to hide my emotions all the time. So I used to listen to music, and usually when I hear if you hear me play music and it's music that's like, you would, the tone of the music would tell you the tone of my spirit, really, and that's kind of how I grew up. Also writing, like I used to write to myself, I used to freestyle to myself. All this I developed because of pain. Like I developed it so I wouldn't be in that. Like I would I would defend myself from that.
Our sponsor for today's episode comes from Audrey Souza. a licensed insurance advisor dedicated to helping families stay financially supported through life's toughest moments. From life and critical illness insurance to long term financial protection, Audrey works with clients across Toronto and Southern Ontario to create personalized plans that bring peace of mind today and security tomorrow. You can learn more by reaching out on Instagram at Audrey Souza Insurance or by email at audrey.souza at dfsin.ca. That's AUDREY dot SOUSA at dfsin.ca. Because your family's future deserves more than what ifs. So you found these outlets
Yeah,
to
that's
channel
yeah.
your energy and your emotion, and you channeled them in certain ways. I got to tell you that many people listen to music to put them in a certain mood or create a certain mood for themselves. I've never heard of anybody watching a horror movie to put them in a mood. That's a first
Yeah.
for me.
Oh yeah. No, it's actually a good idea. Like you see, I went like this is now, if we're pivoting from my childhood now, I'll just go move forward a little bit, just to speak about a lot of the help that I got over the years. And a lot of professionals told me that they encourage my because I sort of document myself, man. Like I write because I'm currently writing a book and I'm writing all these different things and I'm turning it into a story. So I like to write my emotions and my you know and I'm able to do that. Like I'm able to like actually be in pain and write it. And I developed that as a kid. Like I felt that like, oh, like yeah, okay, like when I was in jail, when all the different things, everything that happened to me, I shielded myself by writing. Like it kept my mental state from like losing on my mind. Honestly, man. Like so, the what I was going back to saying though was my help, the professionals, them, they told me that scary movies was actually a good idea because it's the only way you can snap out of it. Like, to be honest with
That's so
you,
interesting because you're a kid at this point
well,
still.
oh yeah, yeah, and bro, I used to watch these scary ass
Most
movies
kids can't
like,
even watch scary movies because of the rating on them.
well, Video 99 used to let everybody rent. I don't know if you remember Video 99. Yeah, so I used to watch Hellraiser. I used to watch Friday the 13th. I used to, bro, the most scariest movies. My mom and dad used to be like, "Man, you're gonna air like, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, "This is like the only way I can get certain things out of my head." Like, because look, it's more than just that. Like right now, like we're at the beginning of the story. Right now, we're just talking about me, things that There's a couple other things that, as growing up, that added to it. Like for example, like when you grow up in the hood and you grow up and you're a guy like me who is very absorbent. I'm very loyal. I'm very like, okay, if I'm on your side, bro, I'll back you up. I'll run the fire with you, whatever, right? And that picked up quick. So I made a lot of friends and we did a lot of things. It was like I said, it started with small things. But let's go back to, we were at Chile though, right? That's
Yeah,
pretty much after
I
Chile.
actually wanted to take you back there. I was going to let you finish your
Yeah,
thought. I'm glad you jumped in and
yeah,
and went back there. But I wanted to learn a little bit about your year that you stayed in Chile, because you said you were there for about a year before your family returned back to Canada. So I just want
yeah.
to get a little bit of that year because I know what happened when you came to Canada. You told us about that. How did that develop or manifest or correct itself when you were in Chile? What was that year like for you in Chile? You're about 12 years
Well,
old or so, and you're in
yeah.
Chile for a
So,
year.
yeah. So we went to Chile and it was just supposed to be a spiritual or even maybe a possible like shit, maybe he should just stay in Chile kind of thing, right? Like, and it was all good. Went back, saw the old family. They showed the love that one year that I was missing. I was a bit uncomfortable. It's like what I could remember. It was a bit uncomfortable because it was like shit. I'm older now. I'm just starting my teenage life. I'm in grade 12, right? And I've seen a lot of shit most kids wouldn't really see at that age, pretty much, right? And or feel, anyways. Those and so I felt a bit awkward. I didn't know. I wasn't that open-hearted kid that they expected I was gonna be, right? So a lot of them almost felt awkward against me too. So I was more, again, I was more absorbed. I was more, of myself. I didn't want people being around me. I didn't feel good, people touching me and stuff. It was very different. Um, and then one day, like, there was this party. I think it was my cousin's. So I recall it was my cousin's party, and it was a good one. Like the whole neighborhood gets together. So my mom spent a good dollar on buying me some good clothes, right? So I could look good for the party. And sure enough, the kids were outside. I was like, let's go play for a bit before the party. Party was at the evening. This was like late afternoon. And I remember we used to get the boards. We used to break old furniture that was left outside, and we would make boards out of them. And then we scraped the bottom of the boards with candle wax. And we'd use that to slide down the hills of, like, because the streets of Chile was made of stones. I don't know, probably the same in Portugal, but so lots of hills in Chile. Chile is made of hills and mountains, and so we used to use that to slide down the hill. So waxed
So
my
you're
board
breaking
up
up
in it.
furniture and you're
Yeah,
greasing the bottom of it to use it as a
with
slide.
yeah, using candle wax and we slide, right. And these are pretty steep hills, right? Like you'd be like, these kids are crazy because we'd be getting like skin burns and whatever.
These
So
are
anyway, we
furniture
get
toboggans.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Go on with your story.
yeah, so this is where it starts to get dark, man. This is where, like, every time I think about this, it's always the same thing, man. Like, I get sweaty palms, everything. The blue pickup, there's a blue pickup in the bottom of the hill where we used to go down, right? And I can't know, I can't tell you if he was always there or if it was just this one time, but it was definitely the last time I've ever seen it. And we were going down, and the guy would be like, "Hey, you want to ride to the top of the hill?" It was about five of us, right? And we're like, "Yeah, yeah, let's go." We all jumped in the back. The guy was wearing a denim jacket. That's all I could remember. And the driver had sunglasses. And he started going up that hill, picking up, picking up, picking up. Man, the thing was going so fast. It was going so fast, and with the incline of the hill, like it never occurred like to jump. But I stayed on. We all did. And it started going faster and faster and faster and faster. I remember he started reaching out, grabbing us. So we tried to reach out from the back of the window to hold us down while it started going faster. I
Is it just
remember the
one
engine
person
revving. No, there's two of them. Two of
inside?
them,
Both
and
inside?
yeah, in the pickup. And there was five of us, about five of us, five or six, I can't remember, in the
And you're
back
in
of
the
the
truck
pickup.
bed.
In the back of the
When you
pickup
say the
truck.
back, you mean the truck bed, not
Yeah,
inside the
yeah.
pickup truck.
No, no, no. The puck, because we jumped into it, right? And we started going. One kid did it, jumped, boom. The other kid, the other kid, the other kid. I was the last one. I remember. The guy just, and I just couldn't do it. I thought one day, I was like, if you don't jump, it's over. And I jumped. I remember going, and I remember my legs touching the concrete for like a split second. I was like kind of running, and then bam, it started rolling. It was just rolling, 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 rolling. I remember seeing a bit of stars, but once I got up, I started running. I didn't look back. I just, boom, started running. I didn't care what the hell was going on. I just didn't look back. I just kept running. I ran through the bush. I ran through the hills. I can't remember how long I ran for, but when I got back to the house, and then my mom saw me, with my clothes all ripped up. She decided to beat me, you know. She said not to get my clothes dirty, you know. So I had to, forget about it. It was a
Did you
rough
tell her what
one.
happened?
Years later, yeah, but
Oh, years later.
yeah, it didn't work, you know. Like
So
at that
thinking
point,
back on that, just to put that in perspective, these guys are asking you if you want to ride to the top of the hill. You guys get
yeah,
in the back of this pickup truck, and he's escalating. He passes the top of the hill, and he's escalating
mm,
faster and faster. They're
yeah,
basically trying to kidnap you. That's what you're saying.
yeah. And the guy was reaching out, trying to hold on to one of us, and it was like a denim jacket. I saw, I could remember, dark hair and glasses. The fuck, it's just so surreal, man. Like I can just like the earthquake. It's something you could just never forget. So yeah, I was like more fucked up after that, and so my mom's like, "Fuck it, we can't leave him here." So we went back to Canada.
Did when when this happened with this pickup truck incident, did you and your cousins did you guys realize what was happening? I mean, you're 12 or 13 years old at this point.
No, no,
You're
no,
aware.
and I'm not even sure. Like I never went back to Chile after that. You know, I never wanted to. Like I can't. Like that was my safe place, and it was ripped away. So after that, I was just I had nowhere to like adapt. It was hard times, man. But I adapted anyways, regardless, right? Again, I found friends and here in Canada and made me strong my own way. And that kind of leads to my next part, right? Like coming back, knowing
So
there
you leave
was,
Chile. You leave
yeah,
Chile. You went back there for about a year. I just want to take a quick recap so you can catch your breath as well. Um,
yeah,
you're back in Chile. You're there about a year. Because of that gap, those few years that you were gone, you said you quite didn't fit in Chile now, where you first didn't fit in Canada, then you went back to Chile, but because you were gone so long, you didn't you didn't feel like you quite fit in there. Um, then this incident with this pickup happened, which obviously you believe that somebody's trying to kidnap you guys as kids. Is that correct?
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Like we went back to Chile to find, yeah, like a whole, like bit of like an answer for me, you could say, and but that answer got sidelined, you know what I mean, by this experience, and it just left me broken, And at that point, I didn't care anymore. I there was I just because again, like, listen, I don't want to, like, I'm just telling you perspective from me, like how I felt, like the way I saw the world at that point where I thought there was nothing left, but it's yeah, like, you know what I mean, the growing up, it's your environment, finding, like, I was lucky, man. I was lucky, so lucky. I was lucky because I could have been
Yeah,
worse,
that
and
sounds like it really meant a lot to you. To me, it sounds like you were very aware of your emotions, um, where a lot of kids, just go day by day and they just go about playing. It sounds to me like you
mm,
were very aware, even at a young age. It sounds like you were extremely aware
well,
of yourself
yeah,
and your
like,
emotions.
of course, for me, like I said, what I find that where I realized where I had the advantage was the fact that I had to turn into I wasn't a child my childhood was taken away since the moment I came here at 4 years old. I was already, I didn't feel like there was no playing, eating candy. You know what's funny? Because I don't eat candies. I don't eat sweets. I don't care for those things. It's not because as a kid, maybe because maybe that's what kids like when they're kids. But when I was a kid, I didn't have a chance to like those things. For me, liking things was actually feeling safe. You know, that was my
That
adrenaline.
that makes complete sense.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of
Yeah, that makes
why
complete sense.
yeah, that's kind of why I am who I am, right? But in that case, anyways, so I don't eat candies and McDonald's and the stuff because I just didn't have a chance to actually enjoy those things. I actually enjoyed actually being safe. I like imagine just knowing there was no God. Imagine knowing that the family failed you. Imagine that your friends failed you. Imagine like just at that point, like nothing matters,
This is
man.
what you're
Like
feeling.
this is what I'm feeling. Yeah, as a kid when I came back, I'm already 13.
So when you
Uh,
say when I came back, you're 13, you come back to Canada now.
yeah,
And are you in grade 8 or do you go straight to high school?
grade eight. I can't really recall if it was after. I think it was after the trip when I went to grade eight, and I was more rebellious by that point. By that point, I was already. So what happened was I did graduate, but I graduated only because it was a mandatory thing. Because I
You're
told the
talking about
teachers to,
elementary school.
yeah, yeah. I told the teachers to go fuck themselves. I told them I didn't give a shit. I told them I didn't want to do the homework. I told them I didn't want to, I was completely broken, man. And they
This
were
is in
like,
Canada or are you in
this
Chile
is
at
in
this point?
Canada. No, no, it's
Oh, this
Canada.
one you're back in Canada. Okay, you're
I'm
back
already
in
back.
Canada.
I'm already
Okay.
back. But I'm already like again, I didn't give a shit. Like who did like I didn't care at that point. I came back more fucked up than I was when I first went. And they were forced to graduate me. They didn't take me to the prom. They didn't give me nothing, bro. They left. They basically gave me like the solitary confinement deal, and I didn't give a shit. I told them here, take your fucking suspension letter and go for. I was bad, dude, in elementary school, bro. I was the only kid to do that. It's like, what is this? Oh, what is this? Oh, a note to my parents that I wasn't at school today. I used to throw it out. I didn't care, man. I didn't give a shit. I was
It
broken.
sounds
I
like
didn't.
to me that your honesty is amazing here because it sounds to me that every time you felt rejected in some way, you got punished for it because from the teacher or school's perspective, you have behavioral issues and they're not going to tolerate it. And then that in turn comes back on you. You feel more rejected, more animosity, and in turn, you want to piss them off more. And it's almost like a back and forth.
Well, it wasn't so much me wanting to piss them off more. It was more like you can't control me anymore. In elementary, a lot of the high school kids would actually know, but like I got popular because of the way I acted, because I was known to teachers even in high school before I even got there. Like kids would be like, "How do you have more
You were the kid that
skipping?"
you were the kid they were warned about when you got there.
Yeah. They're like, how is this kid skipping? How do you have more skipping days than I do? And you're in elementary and I'm in high school. That was the funniest thing I heard. Because I didn't think of that. Like, I used to be like, I don't want to go to school today. I don't care. Oh, they're going to call your parents. I don't give a fuck. I was like that, like I didn't care, like, and they used to give me the paper, be like, oh, to give this to your papers and sign it. Parents used to sign it. I used to never give it to them. I used to just throw it in the garbage. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't control me. I was broken. But that was like, that was after the trip, and I started getting stronger, but in the wrong way. Like I started becoming stronger with the wrong people. And by the time I got to high school, I went to Marion Academy, which was basically like the worst of the school campuses around that neighborhood. And I went there for that reason because, again, I made the wrong friends. I didn't go there because of their academics. I went there because all the badasses were there. You know what I mean? And that's what most kids were thinking. It's like, oh yeah, what do you want to do? You want to be a WAP and go to the fucking that school, or do you want to be a badass over here and go to that school. WAP, I don't want to say disrespect any of the Italians. I'm good friends with lots of Italians, but I mean that school was known to be like, like the very sporty, you know, kind of in the 90s. The sporties used to be the Italians, all those guys. We, we used to be just, the leftovers. We're like, okay, well, we're not there to amplify your sports. Oh, we're here to terrorize the people. So where are we going? That's where we were at, man. I was there just to look
So
for
the school
trouble at
was
that
just
point.
known for having a lot of
Well,
students with behavioral
well,
challenges, let's say, or
hey,
they gravitated to that school, right?
I always say that you are raised, when you're raised, your parents are your environment. I always say that. It's like wherever you're raised, if you're gonna raise your child, it's not gonna be you raising them. It's gonna be your environment raising them. And where I was raised, again, I'm not blaming my parents about it because they're new to the country, they don't know any better. They're just like they thought this country was just better than Chile in every aspect. But little did they know that we were in the worst neighborhood, in most likely Ontario at that moment. And they were just like, go outside, be with your friends, stay out of the house while we're cleaning. So I literally grew up with the kids. Like my dad never taught me nothing. He never. Like I learned to tie my shoelace on my own. I learned to ride a bike from somebody else. Everything. My dad didn't teach me anything. I learned everything on my own, and I don't want to blame them because every time they try to adapt, they realize like shit. Like this is a whole different world. Like where did you get your information from? You know what I mean? Kind of that thing. It's like we're not even on the same frequency. So it
No, I
wasn't.
could understand that, and I could appreciate that because, if they're fresh immigrants to a new country, they probably don't speak the language very, very well. They're trying to pay bills, make ends meet,
Yeah,
and they think it's a much better and
and they're
safer country.
gullible. And they're gullible. They think that hey, this is the best country in the world. They know what they're doing. Little do they know, everybody's fucking everybody in the ass. You know what I mean? Like it's terrible. It was a terrible neighborhood, man. Like, bro, we used to play in the garbage. That used to be our playhouse. We used to use the old mattresses in the garbage and make a house, and we used to chill there. We used to play with BB guns as a game. Like I remember my buddy got shot with a BB gun. He was just a kid, and the cops came and everything. I was thinking, it's like, what do we do for? Like, they thought it was a gun, but it was BB guns because we were playing with the worst kids in the neighborhood. But here's the thing, though, there was love. The hood had love. We kept each other protected. I remember one time I got into a fight, and I swear to God, I was like, oh man, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And then one of the guys I used to play hockey with in the street backed me up and he kicked his ass. I never felt so good in my life, man. Like I was like, that's my neighborhood, like. And so as a child, like that's what you fall in love with. You fall in love with that. You fall in love with people that back you up, people that make you feel safe, And teachers and priests and parents never gave me that, man. I'll tell you that. And you know, and that's where popularity blew up, and I started doing breaking and entering. I started stealing cars. I started robbing people, and I didn't touch drugs. Not at that age. Not yet. I was huge. Like, bro, we used to have an empire where stealing cars was such a big network that we used to be like, oh, yo, Essie, what's up? What are you saying? Nothing. Just here, bang, man. Yo, what's up? I'm here at Lakeshore. Anything hot? It's like, yeah. Where in Lakeshore you at? Oh, by Eglinton. It's like, yeah, there's two hot ones there. Just go check it. There's one in front of this building. And because we had stolen cars all over the place. So we would just tell the guys, like, oh, you need a car? Go pick up. There's one there, laying there. Go pick it up. Go ahead. You know what I mean? It was like that. And it was
I
good.
was going to ask you what made you decide to start stealing cars, but it's your environment.
The environment, and they reward you like any human being or any life when you're rewarded something, and not just like, oh, rewarded with money, but rewarded with pride. See, this is kind of why I love history. I'm a big history guy, man, and I love that before, with like like Genghis Khan, for example, or even that the what's that book there, the Art of
The
War.
Art of War.
Of
Sun
course.
Tzu.
And how they talk about, how do you take care of your army? The spoils of war. It's like we can't afford to keep the army going, but so that's why we need to take the spoils of war. And that's how you keep your army going. It's exactly the kind of method I realized. Like I kind of fell in love with the spoils of war of what my friends offered me because I wasn't getting any spoils of war anywhere in my life, and I was battling, man, fuck for my life, my whole life, and I never got nothing but pain. And then finally, I started getting the chocolate milk, the going into the schools, breaking into the schools, and getting all the scholastic monies. I used to steal the scholastic money, and I used to take that money and I used to go watch the Toonie Tuesday movies. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
the
Like,
20 Tuesday movies. Yeah.
yeah. Remember the 90s? Yeah. So, man, I was a terrorizer, but I did it because that was the only fun and love I've got, man. Like, so
Yeah,
that
you felt
grew.
rewarded when you were, today we're looking back, I'm going to say misbehaving, but when you were committing these acts or misbehaving, you felt loved by the people around you.
Yeah. I got more popular.
You're accepted. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, wow, this is the guy with the cars, man. Like, or you know what I mean? It was like, this is the guy who doesn't give a fuck about nobody, or this is the guy that the teacher was talking about. Like my brother, when he was elementary, behind me, like 5 years behind me, the teacher was to talk to him about me. He's like, oh, you're a Yanis? Oh man, like that's how far back, that's how big of an impact I left, bro. I was a
5 years
crazy
later,
man.
your brother is being asked questions about his older brother.
Yeah, yeah, about me. It's like Yanis, that guy. Oh, damn! Like, is he still
Another one,
alive?
another one. We
Yeah,
don't want
yeah,
another one, right?
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, man. So I left a huge,
You're stealing cars
dent.
in high school.
Yeah, early high school and throughout high school. Oh, but there was so much things that happened through that moment, but like going there and there, I met a lot of big people. Obviously, when you're growing up the tree by your effort and because it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's good or bad. When you put your heart and soul into it and you work hard for it, you're gonna get recognized. And I got recognized by a lot of people.
Just the wrong people.
Well, it depends on what you're working hard for, right? If it's the wrong people, to me, I always said it's only the wrong people if it's not the people you want to mix up with. But at those times, it was kind of the people I was looking for. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be the boss. You know what I mean? Like, and I had all the opportunities in the world, man. Um, and that's kind of when I started. That's when I led me to my first time getting caught, and I
It
was
sounds
like,
like it sounds like you're getting a rush out of this, out of the attention, the respect from the older crowd. The more you do it, you're getting this rush of being recognized.
well, yeah, that the whole thing that I was ripped away from when I was a kid is now coming back 10 times fold, right? Like now I'm not that scared kid that doesn't know where the hell I am anymore. I'm I'm the
And
guy
that fear of
that
consequence is it's not even there for you. You're not
you're.
thinking about any fear
I
of
don't even I
consequence.
don't even know what consequence is. Like I was like the worst that can happen already happened to me. Like what can happen? Like I was, like I didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't even care about God at that point. I was, the God doesn't care about me. And remember, this is all because of how I was raised. Like I swear, if these teachers gave me a better way of handling me, it would have been different. But instead, they fueled me. They added to me. They thought that by showing me fear would smart me up, but in fact, it just made me more criminal. Really, it made me less faithful. Like I thought God was evil at that point. And I was like, that's why I was looking for God. And this is funny because I mentioned that. It's like, so I came back from Chile. All that happened to me. I was more fucked up. I started looking for more connections with people. People saw me. I made friends with badder people, bigger gangs. So at the same time, I was also looking for God, man. And I went and I was a Catholic at that point, and like I was baptized Catholic, and then I was like, I still felt something in my heart, man. I felt like there's something bigger than me. Like I speak to somebody at night, like I ask grace for something, like I still have a spirit, and I ask my mom and people, I go, well, is there other religions? So I started looking around, and there was Christian, like I'm not sure what they're called, I forgot what they're called, but basically the ones that dance, where there's pastors and pastor
Evangelical?
can marry. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I like that because I like the fact that the pastor actually has a wife and kids, because that to me was like real love. That's like, okay, that's the power of love right there. Because that's something that I was kind of jonesing. I was jonesing to be, that family love thing that I never had, and I appreciate that, and that I fell in love with that. I loved how they were playing music and everybody was happy. And there was some pretty nice girls in there too. So all of these things were like, as a young kid, I'm like, yeah, like
It was drawing you in.
yeah. So I
It's still
got
part
in
of the
there.
Christian denomination.
It is. It's
It's
part of the
just,
God. It's
I
still
think,
part of the deal. Yeah.
yeah, I think
Same thing.
the Roman Catholic side you're saying is a little bit more strict in certain
Yeah.
ways with the priests
Catholics.
and stuff.
Yeah, Catholics believe in like the cross and all this thing. I think they're more stricter. Christians are more open to just believing in Christ and things like that. But anyways, it was dope, man. I met people, I met a whole different breed of people, because now we're dealing with like immigrants of a spiritual kind. Now we're talking about like Dominicans, Cubans, um, from El Salvador, but these are people from now the Christian God side, and it was nice. It was beautiful.
You're finding these people in the church.
In the church, yeah, that I found
Right.
through my mom's sister, my aunt, because she came to the country, she came to Canada, and she was about my age, so we related. So I give her a lot of credit too. She was kind of my she held me down. But anyway, she tried to get me girlfriends and stuff, And anyways, I come to realize some real drama going on in the church. It turns out that everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody, but I'm gonna say 75% of everybody in that church is fucking everybody's wife. Everybody. So let me tell you how I found this out, man. It was terrible. It was bad news. This broke me too. This broke me because I was like, "Are you kidding me, man? This is how it is even in church, in this church particular." I'm not gonna say, I don't want to, But anyways, this church is like,
So you're
it turns
finding, hold on, Vic. Hold on. You're finding comfort in this new church.
yeah.
It's drawing you in. You're liking what you're seeing there. You're feeling accepted. You like the environment. Now you run into a roadblock because
I
a lot
found
of
out
people
that
are
everybody's
mingling with each other
mingling with each
sexually.
other sexually, like literally. Oh man. So I was like, this just doesn't end, man. And that's where I got out of church. That's where I backed out of that. And I was like, by then I was already converted. I went to the river, baptized, the whole work. So now, as of now, I'm still a Christian. And I was like, damn. So that kind of made me realize too that damn, there's evil everywhere, man. And I was like trying to find some kind of goodness, man. I just couldn't find it. So that's kind of made me into a player too. I was like, you know what, man? Just take whatever temptation you got. So I started sleeping with all the girls, and that's kind of how I lost my high school sweetheart. And it's funny because I knew she was the one, and I'm such like I kind of give myself credit though, because I told her that, hey, I can't continue with you no more because I found somebody else. And she was actually like, okay, so this is me breaking my virginity now. So basically, I was with this girl high school. She was my sweetheart, whatever, and another girl came who saw me because I was with I was with the big guys, and she was 27 years old. I was 17 years old, and obviously she was older than me, and she took advantage of me. And who am I to complain? Who am I to complain, right? So basically, screwed up my high school sweetheart relationship bad. I broke her heart, man, and I became a bigger star, and I became a bigger asshole and a bigger criminal, and I finally got caught, man. It all hit me right at 18 years, no, 17 years, 17 years old. Yeah, that same year.
When you
And
say you
I
got
got
caught, you got caught.
doing like
Explain
stealing
that.
cars. Yeah, well, I went to Bathurst, a big area we used to steal cars from. And I had a couple of girls. I used to pick up girls all the time in stolen cars. I used to pick them up from school, whatever. And I brought them over to their house. We had we were drinking. And my friend had a gun on him, right? And we were there chilling, and then we're like, all right, we're gonna go pick up some more booze. So we went back to we're like, we don't have the car anymore. It's like, okay, don't worry, we'll get another one. So we went downstairs to go steal the car. Boom, jacked it, bam, bam, got into it. It was a BMW, like one of the new ones. I never did one before, but me, I'm ambitious and nobody can stop me. Bam, I went after it. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, man. So I jacked the car. I got in, and dude, like, as soon as they got out of the parking lot, like 100 cops came out everywhere. Boom, 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 everywhere. Get on the ground, blah, blah, blah. My buddy had a gun. He took the gun and he put it in he dashed it. And he dashed it, I remember. And then he still had bullets in his freaking pants. We got arrested, but the guys didn't search us before putting us in the car. So he started sticking all the bullets into the seat. They were throwing us. And I had a big Rambo knife on me. I didn't like guns. I thought they were messy. I didn't like the fact that they can go off on themselves, so I never fucked with them. I never did. So I just kept knives, and I had a big ass knife. They caught that. And they took me in, me and my buddy.